Hello, my name is Maureen Perry and I'm an education specialist with the Coachella Valley Water District. We have put together a series of videos that will bring you a lot of information about several of our facilities throughout the district, facilities that normally the public is not allowed to enter or to see. So we hope you appreciate this new series. And remember, your water is our promise. We currently are in Palm Desert today. We are at Wastewater Reclamation Plant 10, which is located off of Cook Street, across from Palm Desert High School on the other side of the wash. This facility is responsible for receiving all of the wastewater flows that come from Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert, and some of Indian Wells. The second thing that we do at this treatment facility is that we take this water to what we call a tertiary level of treatment. And that's good for us and that's good for everyone that lives in this valley because it's using a source of water that's already been used once by someone in a home. It's left a home, come to this treatment facility, been cleaned, and is now being reused again for golf course irrigation. I have Braulio Gudino, Wastewater Operator 3 and Shift Supervisor at the treatment plant to explain to us the more technical and detailed aspects of how treatment is performed here at the wastewater treatment plant.
So the process here at the facility is, it goes through headworks, through aeration, clarification, filtration, disinfection, and distribution. So the first step that we have here is the headworks area. It's a preliminary treatment. It removes inorganics mainly. So it's going to go through bar screens and grit removal. At the bar screens, we're going to be removing anything bigger than a ½ inch, if you can picture it in your head. Anything bigger than that is going to get caught in those bars and then be removed by mechanical devices. Inorganics are going to be stuff that doesn't come from plant or animal, like plastics and even organics that can't be broken down by our next process, which would be like coffee grounds, eggshells. All those are going to be removed. So the coffee grounds and eggshells is the next process. So the next process after the headworks is going to be our secondary, which first goes into our aeration basins. The aeration basins here is mimicked by beakers here. The velocity of that is 1 foot per second, which slows down the flow and allows those silts, sands, eggshells, like I said, those are going to be removed. In our aeration basins, you can see in our screen we have microorganisms that actually clean the water. We have air in there to keep the microorganisms alive. The microorganisms are like us. They need air, they need food. Once they've done their work in the aeration basins, then they go into the clarifier. The clarifier settles out the microorganisms. You can see the color of the microorganisms down here and the actual water that goes to the next process. Our tertiary systems have multimedia levels, and we actually use a chemical there called aluminum sulfate to coagulate. And if you can think of aluminum sulfate, it's like it's putting a charge of magnet into fine particles, and they attach to each other. So that would make a bigger particle, and then they would get stuck in the media. If you can take a look at this. This is a representation of what we have in our tertiary 1 filter media. This is the multi-level that I was talking about. You have anthracite coal, you have sand, gravel, and rock. The water flows, once it's been injected, it flows downward, and most of the particulates that are in the water are going to be stuck in this top part. Once we've filtered about 24 hours worth, we actually reverse the flow to clean up the media or the particulates that have been stuck in here. So we agitate it with air, and then we turn on the water to rinse out all the particulates. That process is called a backwash. The backwash reject water goes to our holding pond that we have on the south end corner of our facility here. And that water we can actually use, especially at nights, because at nights we have low flows that come through the plant.
Thank you, Braulio, for all that awesome information that you've brought to us about this treatment facility, which is one of our finest, and we're very proud of it. And I just wanted to share a couple of things that have been going on at this treatment facility, because ever since I have been at the Water District, there's always been something going on to improve processes here at the treatment plant. One of the more recent huge upgrades that was done was replacing all of the air lines that feed the aerators that provide air for our microorganisms that are doing the job of eating the waste that's in the water. And part of that improvement include oxygen sensors. Previously, the operators would go out and try and measure the amount of oxygen that was in the water and then try and decide whether the bugs needed more or less. But now with these sensors, the blowers automatically ramp up or ramp down depending on the demand of those microorganisms in the system. So there's one additional project that I wanted to kind of share with you that's going on at the treatment facility. It's the most current process that we're doing here, and what they're doing is expanding our storage area out at the corner of the plant. Some of you may remember a few years ago when we had that big storm on Valentine's Day. Well, this treatment plant was almost inundated with water, and with golf courses not taking our water, but no one not flushing their toilets, we still had water coming to this treatment plant, and it was pretty severe at one point. Flood the plant or violate our rules for discharge. So they have expanded, and there's a huge amount of expansion with regard to storage here so that we can store this water, we can percolate this water back into the ground on this facility, and we can move it anywhere we want, back and forward, which is part of the game in a wastewater treatment facility, is just managing your flows back and forth throughout the day. Braulio mentioned in his talk about where that backwash water goes, and it is used at night because our flows seriously drop off at night. We have diurnal flows, very few people up and using the facilities, so we'll pipe that water back up to headworks to keep our flows as flat as possible, because that's the way this plant works the best. It's all on hydraulic flows. We don't pump water back and forth, with the exception of to get it to one place to another. But the plant itself, from headworks all the way to disinfection, is all gravity flow and hydraulically powered.